Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's installation video, I am going to show you all a fantastic product that every pickup truck owner should install in their truck. If you own a pickup truck, hopefully you are using the bed to transfer a variety of items. As you can tell, I have quite a lot here that I have had in the bed of my Tacoma, and we are going to install a really neat tie-down system to secure all of these properly in the bed. So before we get into that, this is what I am currently using right now. These are normal tie downs that I put usually behind the back seat. There's not really a good place to store them in the Tacoma. I could place them in this small cubby here if I wanted to, but then you are left with this mess here. You have to untwist them, find the ends, and find a place to secure them on both sides. And obviously, depending on the size that you get, I think these are about 5 feet or 6 feet in length. You can get some longer ones, of course, but then you're dealing with more of a hassle. So in today's video, let's install the Juggernaut Design tie-down system. Now, this is something that is available for all brands. So I will have a link down in the description below where you can purchase this for your own vehicle. It'll be a similar installation for my Tacoma here. I do have bed rails, but for some of the other brands, there might be some factory locations where you can actually attach them. The installation is going to be fairly similar. With this kit as well, I also got the covers. So since I don't currently have a bed cover for my truck at the moment, this is going to keep these in pristine condition since they are going to be permanently mounted in the truck. Now, obviously I could remove them at some point, but this is going to make life a lot easier having tie downs in the truck ready to go for whatever need I may have. So let's move on to the installation now for this ratchet system. Now, like I said, this will vary slightly depending on your truck, but for the most part, if you have the tie down channels here, this is going to be the same type of installation. Now, you'll notice with this kit too, this is the channel portion that is going to go just like this onto the truck, where we also have a tie down here. So you can use that with the end of the ratchet strap and connecting it into that position there. Now, it looks like you can install this either this way, so at the back of the truck here, I can have that on the inside, or I can flip it around and have it on the outside. So I'm going to put it on this outside edge for now. If I feel like I need to flip it around or even slide this, obviously you have the option to do that. Now, this kit comes with these smaller sections right here, and you'll notice there's a flatter edge and there's an edge with this step here. You are going to put the flatter edge against the back of the truck, so that way they can slide in and become flush with the inside of this rail once we start to tighten down this section here. So from there, we also have the supplied hardware, which we can install. And it's nice that these have a pivoting design to them because I can turn this out of the way and get better access to tighten this down. So I'm just going to start by hand here just to get it started and get it lined up with that bracket. And then I can take the other one, of course, and start on the other side. Now, from previous experience with some other tie downs, if I went and installed the back pieces now, I wouldn't be able to clear this curve in the truck. So unfortunately, you can't put them on loosely and then slide it in. Maybe if your truck has a different design to it, with the Tacoma here, I do have to install it in 2 pieces here. So it's just gonna take a little bit of time to line these up. And with them snugged up, I can just reinstall this end cap for the channel rail for this specific truck. And now we can take a look at this ratchet system itself. So like I mentioned earlier, this can pivot and swivel. So we can have it all the way down in a stored position. We can raise it all the way up. We can turn it in. We could even turn it out for whatever reason, probably not quite that far, but we could go out this way if we needed to. So you have quite a lot of options in order to have the strap in the correct angle that you need. Now, also with this, as I mentioned earlier, I do have the cover. So what I've noticed is that you can take the end of this ratchet and fold it over the back of itself and just kind of clamp it in there. And from there, I can put on this cover. So now, when they are not in use, I can just have them stored nice and flush underneath. Now, if I did have a bed cover or I had other tie downs, these aren't going to protrude with any of those. So if I did have a bed cover, I would have to move these slightly forwards depending on where the attachment for the bed cover was, but this is still going to be practical if you have a bed cover. Now, it's worth noting too, on my Tacoma, I do have a rail at the front of the bed. So honestly, I could install one here if I needed to. I'm just going to put one in each corner for now, and at some point, depending on how the items fit in the bed, depending on where the tie down point is that I need, I can always move them at some point and have 1 or 2 up front. So now that I have all 4 of these tie downs secured in each point of the truck, before we start loading up, so let's say I'm ready to load up, I've got the tailgate down, I can maneuver these to where I think I am going to need them. So let's just say I'm going to have this one up in this position here. It's as easy as that. Let's move on to this bundle right here, where now I need to sit here, and this is what I do every time that I get these out. There's really no good way to securely store these. You could take the time to maybe wrap them up, you know, and have them nice and somewhat organized, but honestly, there is really no good way to do this. And you have to find each end. Sometimes they get tangled up just like so, and so you got to work and find it. Once I get it out and free, then I can go to one of the tie down points and I have it ready to go. Now, the thing with this that is not always fun is that I have a lot of slack in the line right now. So there's been times where I'm going to tighten something up and it was so loose that the bottom came off. So now I have to go back, unloosen it, get it back into its mounting position here, tighten it back up, and then go from there. With this, one hand, it is very easy to do. And even with its length, so let's go to here, I can come all the way to the camera. So we got our 9 feet here, where I'm about 2 feet past the camera right now, but this is no more. Let's get those out of there, start loading this up. So I'm going to start with what I think is probably something pretty popular with some pickup truck owners, and that is loading in dirt bikes or even motorcycles of some kind into the back of your truck. Now, I will bring back these blue straps, because from here, if I'm doing this by myself, so one-handed here, not only does this take some time, but I'm also scratching up the handlebars. So I do have marks on my bars from this system here. And now, very carefully, one-handed, I can bring this all the way down and get one side in. What I normally do after I have them tight is that I make a loop and tie this as securely as I can, so that way it doesn't want to loosen. And then from there, I can unloosen them when I am at my destination. You'll notice that that lower section just fell off, so it's not even completely tied anymore. And then I come around and do the same thing for the other side. Now, with this new ratchet system, it is worth noting I did go ahead and flip these around. So for up front, the tie down hook that you go back to is now farther away from the cab. And I'll show you why that makes sense here as we go to tighten this up. So I can move this out in the direction that I need it to, where I want this to go basically straight off of that point. Now, the end of these are not wide enough for my handlebars, so that is why I also flipped this unit around, because now I can just go down and attach it here. So that's why I went ahead and swapped this. And then from there, you'll notice there's a gray tab here that we can push on to release this handle, and that's how you can start ratcheting and tightening this down. Now from there, I can push it down so it's just kind of out of the way, and then with that gray release, you'll push on that to actually flatten this all the way. So once it touches and it's completely flat, that's going to give you the release to pull this out. So if you are still wanting this to be secure, you want to have that gap on this back side, because once you push on this, it's just going to release as needed. So you have that safety release, which is nice, and then you can start really tightening this down and securing your load. And then of course, once we're done, push on that gray release, and then I can loosen it from this side here. It will loop back around the handlebars back into its position, and then I can push it out of the way. And while I still have the bike in the back of the truck, I do have a motorcycle as well. So the dirt bike here weighs about 230 pounds. The motorcycle is closer to 450 pounds. So just to show you what I would do if I had my motorcycle here, the dirt bike, I really don't tighten down at the back at all, but for the motorcycle, since it weighs a lot more, I would do that process. So with the rear straps having this connection point on the outside, this is how I can go ahead and snug down the swing arm in the back. Now, these ratchet straps have an anti-belt slip rating of 3,300 pounds and a working load limit of 1,100 pounds. So these are definitely very heavy duty and enough to secure even a load like this, of course, at 230 pounds. But this is going to give you all of that strength and security that you were looking for. And from here, I can push on that release again, it is worth noting that it will go back. So if you let go, this is going to go all the way back into its location there. So you just want to be mindful of that. Just help it guide it in a little bit. So let's move on to something a little bit more bulky. Now, obviously, everyone's not going to have the same items that I do, but I can at least show you dimensions, sizing, different things like that. So from here, let's move back to the blue straps. I need to find that strap down below. And luckily, this looks like it is long enough. So I would just have to do that, and at least we have one of the straps tightened. But as I loosen it, I have to come back around. I have to pull it back out, and I need to find somewhere to put this. Let's move on to these new straps where I can even reach from the other side, grab it, straighten it out, pull it straight across, loop it to the other tie down that I have on that side, and then just start ratcheting it down. And then same goes for the one on the front. I can even do it from this side, reach across, grab the bed rail, and then strap it down, and we are good to go. But let's say maybe you're putting in a fridge, a tall dresser, whatever it may be, some kind of cooler, and you want to have this in the upright position. You don't want to have it laying down. And while this is a super tall piece here, we won't be able to get this to go around the top of it. I do want to show that you do also have the option of bringing this up and over. And we do have 9 feet here. But let's go ahead and bring it up if we wanted to do that, where we don't have quite enough from that 9 feet, but we can also loop these together, and now we can ratchet these down from the top. We can make that nice and secure, and then maybe add an additional strap if you wanted to go around the side. So you do have several different ways that you could use this, and with the 9 feet that you have from these straps, it's very nice that you have a little bit of versatility to connect them together, just depending on what you have in the back. So next up, I want to move on to some lighter weight items, because I use this bed for various items, having life jackets in there, maybe a folding chair, and then I do play golf every now and then. So I will be putting my golf bag in the back of the truck rather than putting it in the back of the truck there inside the cab. So with these loose items, obviously I don't want them sliding around or risk having some of the lighter weight items blow out. So again, I'll take one of the tie downs here, and then I just have to take my time, you know, going through whatever part I can just to get them nice and secure. Handle on the golf bag there, maybe the strap on this chair, tighten it down here, and then snug this up. And they're not even in all the way, but try to tie them up and go from there. It can be a hassle. Obviously, all of these wouldn't be back here at the same time, but this is a lot of work. Let's see how much easier it is to grab this unit here, and then we can just start feeding it through. We can go all the way through, and then hook it up top, come back around, and then we can start to ratchet this down. So from here, let's just push on this to release it, so we don't even have to go back and hold that side. And then I can easily undo it and let it go all of the way from there. So even some little items like that, just having, since I don't have the bed cover, it can give you some more security in having these items. I have 2 more items to show you all. Next up, I have a gas can here. This is something that I don't want to have inside the cab. I don't want the interior of the truck smelling like gas, and I don't want this rolling around in the bed of the truck for it to spill. It's empty right now, but if it was full, you know, it could tip over, and that is something I don't want to clean up. So I can actually twist this sideways now, because I am pulling the strap out sideways to wrap around the handle this way. I can pull that out, I can snug it up, and I can even ratchet it down even with this much here. So I can bring it all the way in, and now this is not going anywhere. It might move slightly. So last up, let's move on to this big, giant, bulky ladder. Now I won't be using the blue straps, since I think you get the idea of how they work and how much more usable they are in certain situations. Now what I also want to use the strap for is putting the ladder in this way with the tailgate down. I really haven't shown having the tailgate down in order to use these ratchet straps here. So what I'm going to do is angle it in this down position here, and I'll loop it up underneath one end, and I can come back up to the other side, where I have found it to be very beneficial so far to have these on the outside, especially for these back ones. And then from there, I can snug it up real good. And I can also go a step further, and I can use the one up front to maybe kind of just loop it around to at least have it somewhat tied in the front. I think the back one is definitely going to be more beneficial, but I have 4 different ways that I could strap this down. I could even take this one and somehow loop it maybe underneath or back around, or just have it like that, and then even crossways raise this up a little bit and snug it down. So even if you have some odd shaped items like this, that's a really good way to tie down an item and have it nice and secure. And then obviously with an item like this, you could put the tailgate up as well, and then use those straps again to go over the top. So there we have it, loading up the back of my truck to showcase the Juggernaut Ultimate Retractable Ratchet Strap System. You can get just 2, you can get the full set, you can get the covers as I've shown in today's video, and have a little bit more peace of mind with always having these with you as well. Sometimes I forget these straps at home and I have to figure out plan B, which is usually to go back home, grab some straps, and then get back to my normal routine. So I no longer have to deal with those anymore. I have them secured in the back of the truck. Obviously I can move them as needed, just depending on the items that I use and load the most and what makes the most sense. So a really cool design to always have them with you. No more tied up straps, no more having to secure both sides. You always have one point where you know, and you can strap them down from there. So I hope you all enjoyed today's video installing this ratchet system for a pickup truck. Take a look at the link down in the description below where you can get this set for your own vehicle. There's a few manufacturers that these are available for, so take a look at that. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads, and I will see you all in the next video.